Good evening to all. I am Vishwanath Desai, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce and Management. On behalf of Dr. NSAMFGC, I would like to welcome today's resource person, Dr. Farah Deba, Senior Scientist, Monsanto Company, Bangalore. I would like to welcome all the participants who are participating from the last 4 days. I am very happy to invite, and on behalf of our college, I welcome you all the participants from different colleges, institutions, and universities. And also, I would like to invite and welcome Professor Raghavendra R., Principal of our college, Dr. Shanti Iyer, Advisor of our college, Professor Bhavya Kyar, IQAC Coordinator and Head of the Department of Commerce and Management, and all HODs and my dear counterpartners from our college. We have been doing national level FDP from the last 4 days. The journey, research journey started such as transformative research for more societal impact by Dr. Sapna Yes from Christ University. Second day, review of literature and theoretical framework by Dr. Triveni P from Raman Institute of Management. Third day, statistical tools for data analysis done by Dr. Manjunath Kyar from Kuvempu University. Yesterday, session done by Dr. Usha Devi on writing a research paper for Scopus and user care list. In connection with yesterday's session, I would like to say a few words. Really, yesterday session and all the sessions really we have enjoyed. Regarding yesterday's session, I would like to say a few words. Academic research publishing is an integral aspect of scientific and technological progress. Innovation and developments in the human knowledge are communicated to the general public through the public of the findings from the latest research studies. It is essential that this knowledge be precise, authentic, reproducible, and also actionable. Many aspiring researchers and scientists dream of having their work published in highly impactful journals such as Scopus and user care list. To make these dreams come true, it is vital to follow fundamentals principles of scientific research and publishing. So in yesterday's session, Dr. Usha Devi has given few tips such as, number 1, make sure the quality of your research is exemplary. Number 2, coming up with a research question of substantial significance to the discipline and the society at large. Number 3, your research study design should be foolproof, like this. Yesterday, Madam has given a wonderful session. Today, we have a session on copyright and plagiarism and ethical issues in research. So today we have a resource person called Farah Deba, Dr. Farah Deba, Senior Scientist. I would like to introduce today's resource person. So I'm very happy to introduce our senior scientist. Dr. Farah Deba is an author and a consultant. She has worked with the Monsanto Company as a senior scientist from 1996 to 2009. She has a PhD from the GB Panta University of Agriculture and Technology, Patna. She has further specialization in intellectual property protection from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. She has more than 25 years of experience in the field of intellectual property, agriculture, biotech industry, research and development, teaching, training, research guidance, and scientific outreach. So like this, her areas of work include IP protection, technology prospecting, competitive intelligence, and knowledge management. She has several publications in peer-reviewed journals, including those on Bit Cotton, Bitcorn and IPRs. She is an inventor with patents in genomics. Apart from her scientific publications, she has literary works to her credit, including two English novels, that is, Corporate Curry and Rhyme Shad, and other books. She is also an accomplished semi-classical vocalist. Madam, we are very happy to have as a resource person today. Over to Madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for the kind introduction. So we can go ahead with the presentation now.
Yes, madam, you can carry.
Okay. So I'll just share my screen and please let me know that it's visible and audible. Then I'll continue. Okay, is it visible now? And am I clear? My voice is clear?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. And it's my pleasure to be here. And thank you, sir, for the invitation to speak to. I always look forward to speak to students. And what I'll do, I'll quickly put down all the concepts that I'm trying to put across. And then I will try to take the questions and answers towards the end because it is more efficient that way. So in the interest of time, let me go through this and I hope you'll find it interesting and you can jot down your questions and we can take it in the end. So throughout this workshop, you have heard about how to put up a presentation, how to do your research, how to do your synopsis and all that. But there are to be checks and balances. And since we are in a knowledge economy, we must know what is the landscape, how are the rules, what are the rules that we need to follow. And if we are aware, it will cause us less trouble when we come to the point of writing an assignment or a thesis or a dissertation. So in a knowledge intensive economy, the most important resource is knowledge, and how we are using the data and gigabytes and megabytes of knowledge, which is available on the internet, is the game changer. The how and why, what you can use, what are the resources that you're using, is it ethical, is it moral, is it according to the rules of the game, according to the rules that UGC follows. So let's understand this whole landscape from a bird's eye view and then try to understand where we can go wrong. And if you know, awareness is the key in a knowledge economy. So intellectual property rights are creations of the human mind, of course, but it is very important to define them, to register them, to protect them as a property. Because if you have put in work, if you have written a book, or you have invented say a hair dryer, or you have invented a cycle which is having a new gear work and all that, you need to safeguard your work, your technology, as well as your brands. The brands itself are a form of IP. Most important, the take-home message that I would like to give you is whether you have freedom to operate even before you conceptualize a synopsis, a project, or a thesis, or an industrial pilot project. First thing is to ensure that you have freedom to operate, because you may be wasting your time, energy, and money in something which somebody else has already done. Another thing is, legally, all the intellectual property laws are territorial. That means if you are in a country, those laws will be followed. So these couple of background things you should understand before you embark on a journey of discovery, invention, writing. So please understand the nuances and take the take-home messages from this presentation so that in your practical life, it will be very useful, especially for academics. So the idea of intellectual properties is to encourage economic development and reward intellectual creativity, because somebody created something which the society is benefiting from. Your mobile phone, your PC in which you are seeing this presentation, everything is an invention. It's an intellectual creativity. There's a lot of work, years of work and research and development goes into it. So it should be awarded. Another thing is to the benefit of the society. Traditional knowledge like turmeric, neem, like our different climatic zones which produce specific things like spices, all these things we are proud of. So you have your Mysore silk. See, all these things are traditional knowledge. These are all part of the intellectual property spectrum. So this is the whole spectrum, the list of instruments that you can utilize. So on one hand is copyright, which today I'll be dealing in detail, and we'll do a deep dive. The industrial rights consist of patent. So everybody talks about patent, but please understand, apart from patent, you have industrial designs. Okay, you have trademarks, which are the brands. And we all have our favorite brands. Somebody likes Panasonic, somebody likes Sony, somebody likes Apple, somebody likes Samsung. These are all trademarks. Then geographical indications. So I was mentioning Darjeeling tea or Malabar black pepper. These are all geographical indications. Then we have plant variety protection for plant breeders' rights. So somebody has created that Annapurna atta that you eat chapatis of. So it will be written Annapurna or Ashirwad. And then they say it's so-and-so variety, Sharbati Sonara variety. That is plant breeders' rights. So this is the gamut of things. So for one product, for example, let's say Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola, you will see the trademark, the red and white logo, the font, everything is copyright protected. Everything is trademark protected. Even the wrapping of a chocolate wrapper, you see, Cadbury's Dairy Milk, if you see, that particular color is in your mind. The moment you go to the shop shelf, you will go for that purple color. That is a trade dress. The way the product is a chocolate, but the way it is wrapped is also protected by an IP. So IP is everywhere in your life, if you see. And that little bottle of Coke that you drink, it's a simple beverage, but the beverage is protected under trade secret because they will not reveal what the formulation is. But when you see the bottle is an industrial design. So everywhere you come across these things. So patent is for inventions and progressive inventions. So if you have a machine or a formulation, a DDT, a drug formulation, say a blood pressure drug, so all those will be patent protected. And then I mentioned the traditional knowledge, Malabar black pepper, Monsoon Malabar coffee, Darjeeling tea is world famous. So if you see these things, we use all of them. We are consumers and we want to know what we are getting is authentic. So it is protected under geographical indications. For all of these, this is the whole spectrum of IP, and you can protect your products and your inventions and your industrial designs, which is easier than a patent. You know, if you have created a bottle of water, say, which looks different, you can have an industrial design on it. You don't need to take a patent. So this is the whole gamut of things that you should be aware of. Now, going ahead, India has totally made itself according to, all the laws are according to the TRIPS law now. And this is the slogan of India's IP policy, Creative India, Innovative India. And recently the GI logo they have put. So if you see that logo, you should be sure that this is an authentic GI tagged product. So now these are the laws which are concerned with intellectual properties in India. So there's a Geographical Indication Act, Trademark Act, Protection of Plant Variety and Farmers' Right Act. So any plant variety that a farmer has developed also can be protected. Then you have, of course, Patent Act and Biodiversity Act. Biodiversity is the whole gamut of flora and fauna that is there in our country. And the government organizations, the non-government organizations, and community-based organizations. Then patents and scientists, all of us are together in this. And these are the laws that are there, which give the guidance. So now let's go into specifics of copyright, because for an academic institution, copyright is very, very important. And the nuances of it, if you understand, your thesis will not be going for multiple revisions. So copyright is basically any original work of authorship, which is fixed in a tangible medium of expression. What is that tangible medium of expression? You had a beautiful story in your mind. You write it in the form of a story and get it published, or you write a novel, or you write a play. Okay, so databases and software also in India are protected under copyright. So we'll discuss that, why, and all other artistic works. So it's a legal concept. It's basically simple IP. The moment you write it down, you have the copyright, but unless you register it, somebody can misappropriate it. So you don't want misappropriation of your work, so you will protect it by registering. And original works, I said books or anything, but if you write a commentary or a compilation or a translation, that also can have a copyright on it. So there are rules and we have to follow the rules. So it's a bundle of rights. You can produce as many copies, you can communicate it to the public in so many ways, you can adapt it. So if you have read the book, The Guide by R.K. Narayan, it was made into a beautiful movie by the Anands. And Da Vinci Code, one of my favorite novels, was made into a brilliant movie. And in the center is one of my books, which I hope somebody will make a movie one day. So that is called adaptation, or people can translate to from one language to another. So all those things are the rights which the copyright holder will be having. So since the internet boom, copyright has become very, very important, because for academics as well as for industry, internet has changed the way things worked. So the first thing you'll do if you have written a source code, or if you have written a book or something which you think is IPable, which is to be protected by IP, first you will put a copyright notice on it. It's very simple. Any book you open, on the side it will be written the symbol copyright. So then it says copyright, the name of the title of the book, copyright, year of publication, name of the author, and all rights reserved. So those rights that you can reproduce, you can adapt, you can translate. And there's a second edition to it, which is an ebook. So you can mention it like this, so that your work, which is bound and written, and even a handwritten, you can have a copyright on that, and then you can go for registration in the registrar office. And registration is a proof that you own this intellectual property, you own the copyright. Otherwise, if somebody misappropriates your work, you cannot have an evidence that this was your work. So very often we hear about infringement, we'll discuss that. So once you file, you will go through the process and you'll be getting a certificate issued from the Copyright Office. So these are the examples of copyright certificates. For example, somebody has a lit fest going on, they've created a logo, you can copyright it. And then there may be a society of owners, like the collective rights organizations. Several artists or technology providers will come together and create a performing rights society or a phonographic society and all that. So people can collect the revenues, royalties, and it can be given to the other members of the society. So this is Indian Singers Rights Association. So any product which is a music has so many people involved in it. So they are neighboring rights and other people. So they have created these organizations so that the royalties will come in and people will be benefited. So when we talk about IP, patent is the strongest form of IP. The copyright exists the moment you write it down and put a notice on it that this is my copyright, and so on and so forth. It's automatically recognized in 165 countries because there are conventions which work world over. But patents are very difficult to get. There are stringent criteria. You should have an invention which is new, it should be non-obvious and industrially applicable, then only you will get the patent. It goes through a long process. But in case of copyright, the protection is significantly less. And since it is significantly less, it's susceptible to copying, infringement, piracy, a lot of pirated books all over, pirated software, so which is a reality. And especially literary and artistic works, where the expression and the idea, different people deal with the same storyline in different ways. So what happens is that there's a gray area. Okay, it's easier to obtain copyright, but patent is very difficult to obtain. So we are comparing two different things here. And term of protection is very important to understand. What is the term of protection? We'll discuss further on why it is important. So a patent is for 20 years. And the term of copyright is life of the author plus 60 years in case of published work. But for broadcast and all, 25 years, performers right, 50 years. These are the terms. We'll discuss further why. So who's the author? Whosoever writes the book or a drama. Somebody composes music, A.R. Rahman or Ilya Raja, whosoever composes music. Cinematographic film, the producer, and so on and so forth. The person who took the photograph is the author. And if you have written a computer code, so the person who has created the code is the author. So now these are the authors we are very well familiar with, and we appreciate their music, their poetry, their plays. So these are our heroes. So these are all authors and copyright owners, the first copyright owners. So you can register your copyright, and once you have registered it, you can pass it over. You can assign it to somebody else to make a movie or adaptation or translation. Just like a property, you can deal with it. So you can write it and give it that this person is allowed to make a movie on it or do a play on it. So your right is there, but when you get into an employer-employee situation, usually people will sign an employment contract where the employer will be the owner. If something intellectual is created here, the employer will be the owner. And if you have commissioned a work to a subcontractor to another party, it's better to obtain a copyright through written deed. Otherwise, they'll say that we created it, but you commissioned it. So those gray areas in legal terms have to be clearly dealt with. And even if you sell off your copyright, but still you have the author's right. Because if somebody is mutilating your work, if somebody is, say, for example, you are an architect and you created a building and somebody is distorting it so badly that you feel bad about it, even after you have forfeited your right, you have the moral right to go and object to it. So please understand what is a copyright, what are the rights of the author, and how you can use it. So all the time we buy licenses of software. So understand that that's the way of dealing with a business which is protected by copyright. So the laws are constantly evolving, and computer software related inventions in India are mostly written, and they will be put on engineered systems. So there are characteristics which is the source code is in text format and it's working with an engineered system. So whether it is patentable or not, the patent office will decide. So what is easily decided is that hardware, functional component, devices, all these can be patentable. But software, because it's in a written text form, is mostly copyright protected in India. In other countries, the jurisdictions and they will decide how it goes about in their country because it is territorial right. So if you cannot have patent, you can have copyright. And of course, trademarks can be put on that. So all the software you buy, there'll be trademarks on that. So the Indian Patent Office gave guidelines. Anything which is a mathematical method, a business method, or algorithm cannot be patented. So everything is not patentable. Some things are patentable, some things are not patentable. And if it is not patentable, how do you protect it? By copyright. In case of the software. So if the software is working in conjunction with the hardware, then they may determine patentability. For example, you have a washing machine and you write a new program about how the machine should work. So the parameters change. So you have a fuzzy logic person, machine that washes clothes. So in that case, there's a hardware and software component, and the judges will, the patent examiner will take it forward to determine patentability. So if you understand these nuances, you know from the day when you wrote a beautiful computer program, you can go ahead and register it by copyright and protect it. So till now, I'm talking theoretically. To relate to the actual concept and the real life problems, let's understand it by some case studies. So the condition number one is that the person who misappropriated your work, infringed your work, had access to the protected copyright, which was legal, which is a legal thing. And the person creates a work which is substantially similar in terms of idea and expression, look and feel. So let's understand what it is. So a person called Rogers, he shot a photograph, that black and white photograph. A person called Coons, he created a set of statues based on that image, which is very obvious that it's substantially similar. So later on, the person who shot the photograph found out that this person is making money by making statues. So what he did, he went to the court. So the person said, I'm just using it as a parody. It's a fair use. They went to the court. So once they went to the court, the similarity is, of course, very clear. And any typical person, any normal person will be recognizing that this is, in terms of look and feel, it is substantially similar. So they had to come to a monetary settlement where the original photographer was given money. So this is high stakes business. And if you know the rules, you'll play it safe. Again, Nokia versus Apple. There's a copyright infringement case, and it is very interesting that Nokia filed a patent in 1999 covering the use of touchscreen technology in phones. So it was so specific. So later on, when Apple started using touchscreen, Nokia went and put a case, and they won the case. So this is a copyright infringement of the touchscreen technology. So now Nokia receives royalties from each iPhone device. So this is high stakes business. So this is a picture taken as a selfie by the camera was there in the premises of the zoo, and somebody left the camera. So that somebody is David Slater. So he left the camera and he went somewhere. Meanwhile, the macaque came and it took the pictures. And the pictures came out so well that they went viral all over the place. So PETA, people for ethical treatment of animals, they filed a lawsuit. You are making so much of money because of this selfie of the monkey. You better share some of the profits. So ultimately, they went to the court, and the court said, we'll deal with it. So first thing is, does the photographer have the copyright, or the monkey has the copyright, or no one has the copyright? So now let's understand. So the photographer left the camera on the ground and the monkey took the photograph. It became a selfie by the monkey. So Slater had the system there, but he is not the photographer. So he does not get the copyright. And copyright law says that only humans can get copyright. So please note that. The monkey cannot have copyright. That means the image will go into the public domain and anybody can use it. So now the judge said that since it's not a human, not natural human, a monkey cannot be eligible for copyright. So it went into the public domain. Now, similarly, Google versus Oracle. So the Java programming language was used to develop Android. All your cell phones have Android. So Google said it has made fair use of the technology. So of course, they went from federal court to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court said that when only a limited number of ways to express an idea are there, you cannot lock it under copyright or any law because it will stifle further innovation in that field. So there is a debate about private ownership versus public good. We'll deal more with it as we go ahead. So the application programming interface was copyrighted. It was under protection, but this is a fair use because there's only a limited way of doing a program. So you cannot just do it without referring to the previous one. So hence the judges said that they did not violate copyright. It's a fair use. Now please use that word. Keep it in your mind. What is fair use? We'll discuss further. So now this is a beautiful picture. It's called The Recent Entrance to Paradise. And it is by an author called Creativity Machine. So this is very interesting. What is a creative machine? It is an AI system called Dabus. So this is a device for autonomous bootstrapping of unified sentience. So this is developed by a company called Imagination Engines. So this is very interesting. They filed an application with AI as an inventor in 3 jurisdictions, UK, US, and Europe. It was rejected. The next year in South Africa and Australia, they said, okay, you can have AI as an inventor. So basically what happened is that they created, the AI system created a fractal design of a food container. So several containers can be fitted together more tightly. When you transport it, will not move. The can will not move. So that was the invention. So they put it in the European Patent Office and US Patent Office. So they said the can with many indentation and bulging. So that was the application. When the Patent Office checked, they found that there was another similar application which was filed earlier by a group from Germany. And that means this fractal design by the AI system was not novel. So first criteria for patentability is it should be new. So the solution, the indentation on the jar was developed by the AI system. Now, when the examiners went deep into it, they said, how can an AI system be an inventor? So the owner of the AI said that I will be the successor. So ultimately they rejected in 3 jurisdictions. And all these things show that there are a lot of gray areas now. And a lot is happening in this field. So any creative work to qualify for copyright protection must have originality and it should have a human author. So AI is not a human author. But the problem is a lot of decisions are being made by the tool itself and there is no human intervention. So there are these gray areas. So AI is doing a lot in so many fields like natural language processing and so on. So whether it can be treated as an author or creator, the patentability guidelines are being evolved, how to go about it, because this is a high-tech area. We have to keep pace with the development and create novel guidelines for a brave new world where knowledge is the power. So these are simple examples. So if you have heard about this in the newspapers, you can go ahead on YouTube and hear the Navarasam from Taikudam Bridge and Varaharupam and see whether really they have lifted the template or they have taken reference or they have just been inspired. So you can do this exercise on yourself. So now this Facebook changed into Meta a few years ago, but their logo is so pathetic. It's just an infinity symbol. See, that has been used multiple times by different companies. So it lacks originality, and they could have been more creative by creating a good brand. They failed there and they'll be in legal hassle. So these are the examples. So basically, why, if you're aware, why you should infringe a person's copyright. So internet is a great source, but it is also a breeding ground for plagiarism and infringement. So if we understand what is out there, who owns it, how to go about it, we'll be better off. So infringement is basically using somebody's protected work. So it's a legal thing. Copyright is a legal IP. And you have taken it without permission. So what do you say? It's an unauthorized act of imitation of an original work. So people can take legal action and people can go to jail for that because they have used something which was legal and created an imitation. So people have to pay damages, they can be imprisoned and so on and so forth. So people make copies, pirated software is a reality. Public performance of work without permission. People can make a drama out of a book. Infringed copies. Of course, software piracy is rampant. So all those things, creating public exhibition of something, you can land up in serious trouble. And how does it relate to the academic environment? Now I'll go to the specifics. So research methodology, you've been hearing for the last 4 days. You've also understood how you can create a research work, but at every point, we should have a check. So this is what I'm going to discuss right now. What are the ethics and what are the checks that we should do? So first thing is create original work. If you're doing a PhD, it should be original and you should have followed ethical principles to create it. And of course, you have rules and regulations in your universities. So first thing is to, when you are at the planning stage itself, you should understand what you're doing, how you'll generate the material, where will you go and collect the material as well as the literary evidence. Okay, how will you report? Is it in the right manner? When you publish, will it be rejected because it's not been properly, the rules are not followed? So this is a check. The most important thing is attribution. And if you have taken somebody else's material, informed consent. So the UGC expects you to follow the guidelines and be responsible while conducting a research. And there should be a true and error-free document that you create. So how to go about it? One is, sometimes some people are incompetent. They don't know, they're not aware. So, but some people intentionally fabricate. But being scientists, being in the field, the person will get to know if somebody has misappropriated or intentionally fabricated because we have 30, 40 years of experience in that field. Again, some people may do honest error or there may be difference of opinion, which is accommodated. We should accommodate difference of opinion. And if you have made a mistake, that is also a learning. So first thing is to be aware. That's what we are doing right now in this workshop, making you aware of the right practices. So if somebody is intentionally misrepresenting or dry lapping, that means they did not go to the lab, they just created some data. That is total dishonesty. Another thing is you did some experiments, you created some data, but you fudged it. Again, the trend you created yourself, it was not there. If somebody sees the raw data, they can make out that it has been fudged. And the third one is plagiarism, which is directly related to copyright and the literary work. So it's again misappropriation of another person's idea. So when I talked about copyright, I said tangible expression of an idea in the form of a book or a journal or article or whatever. Here we're talking about idea itself, which is not a legal term, but it is an ethical term. So there's a legality of a registered copyright and there is a ethical part. So we are talking about research ethics where ideas, processes, words, if you have lifted from somewhere without giving appropriate credit, you can land up in trouble because it will be considered as misconduct, research misconduct. And if we are aware, we'll avoid that. Now, when we discuss the scientific method, the first thing is you will sit with your advisor and define your research question. Then you'll gather all the information which is available. So you'll do a review of literature, not only literature, all available literature in the form of a patent or in the form of a journal article, popular article, you have to review all the literature. Then you'll form the hypothesis, you'll test your hypothesis, you'll analyze your data, interpret your data, very important. When you interpret your data, you will find your own conclusions. That will be the original work that we are looking at. Okay, till now you're just going through the process. When you start interpreting the data, your original work, your original conclusions will add to the pool of the society. We are a civilized society. We have a pool of intelligence, pool of knowledge. We'll add a few drops to that knowledge. So then what will you do? How will you notify the people that you have done such a work? You will publish your results in the form of a thesis or a publication in a journal. At that point, you'll have to cite all your references and make sure that each reference cited goes to the reference list in the end of the document. You must be aware of that. Okay. Then this whole process has to be refined and checked and double checked. So many rounds we do the checking so that there's no plagiarism in that. Then only your work will be accepted. So when you start, you'll write your synopsis, you'll talk to your professor and you'll find original ideas, a solution to a problem which is known. You'll write your synopsis, you'll write your abstract and get your keywords. With the keywords, you will search the information which is available and you will review, that is called the review of literature. You'll see what has been published. So once you have surveyed the literature, you'll be in a position to write something about it. Or if you have your own point of view, you'll write a review on that. So you will define your objectives, create a hypothesis, check it in the lab, or check it with your empirical data. You will analyze, interpret. Interpretation should give some original recommendations. And then in the end of the document, you'll write all your references. That where did you go and search those references from? Whose ideas have you worked upon? So their IP due diligence is very important. You have to acknowledge the source. You have to take informed consent if you've taken a photograph or a diagram from somewhere. You have to seek permission of the author, and proper citation is very, very important. I'll go ahead and discuss this further. So you will see what are the other people, scholars and researchers have done, work on the topic and published. You'll go refer to that and create your reference list, and you will generate your keywords based on your problem. Collate the information. You will also, if you're a scientist, you have to go to the patent literature and understand what is prior art. Simple. What is pre-existing? Before you started work, what was there existing? What is state of the art? What is the cutting edge of science? Where the technology is right now? Because you want to work beyond that area. The white spaces which are available for you to invent further. So any evidence that your invention is already known is prior art. If it exists there, that means you can refer to it and quote it, and you can develop a strategy which takes you to the next level to create a novel invention. So if you don't know what is pre-existing, you may reinvent the wheel. We don't want to do that. The resources will be wasted. Your time will be wasted. So what you will do? You will go and search. So first, that's why we do literature review. That someone somewhere has created a work, written it down, published it, and you must know what is the prior art. And then you'll determine what is the state of the art. and what is the further step, the next step, which will create a novel invention. So that's the strategy. So be well informed. Before doing anything, you have to search. Go to these websites, go to the patent websites, go to the journals and search. And if you are in a business, you will do your SWOT analysis and freedom to operate analysis so that you know where to put your money. And you need, in a commercial organization, you have to do market research. Then if now the technical part of the organization will do a state-of-the-art study before even you begin to work on something. So search everything, all databases, publications, patents, annual reports of companies, whatever. And if somebody has done that work, don't do it. Go one step further. You don't want to repeat what somebody has done. And then if you are in a competitive environment, if you are a company, you have a competitor set of companies. And if you don't do that, there'll be patent wars and people will come and sue you that you have taken my work. So this strategy saves time, effort, and money because resources are limited. Now, when you do the literature search, you will take the references and systematically record them using a reference manager. So in my time, when I was doing my PhD in 95, 96, I submitted my PhD in 96, we had reference cards. So they look like very old things right now because we have internet. At that time, there was no internet. There were no internet tools. So that time we used to have reference cards, but you can go and use these reference managers to systematically record your references and cite the references in a proper manner. So when you use technical literature, you can access all of them. Okay, but you use it as a fuel and a source of or a fertilizer to create something new. So develop and express your ideas in your own word. Even if you have taken something from somewhere, paraphrase it. Otherwise, it will be considered infringement. And it is an academic dishonesty. So now I'm showing you this Creative Commons. We'll discuss what is Creative Commons. This picture is a Creative Commons resource which I have taken and I have also given the reference. See the link here. So when you choose a topic, you collect the background information, you organize the information and cite it. Okay, then you evaluate your question, you write your research questions, you write a draft, several rounds of editing. In the end, in the final draft, you will have to cite the references. This is the scientific method and scientific way of going about doing research and publishing your research. And the academic dishonesty, if you have quoted from somewhere else and not given citation, will be plagiarism. Let me discuss this in details. So basically, plagiarism is deliberate deception. You know something is protected by copyright and still you are misusing it, or it is somebody else's idea and it's not published, but it is their idea and people know about it. But it is unethical for you to take somebody else's idea and modify it a little bit and use it in your assignment. Okay, it is unethical. So please understand. Till now I was talking about legality. Now I'm talking about ethics. It is unethical. So it is unattributed use of another person's original creation or idea. So we'll discuss further. So basically, the language, the idea, the expressions, all those are not copyrightable. Only the written work, book or web page, that is a tangible expression of copyright. But here, you take something from somewhere and you create a false claim of authorship. That is plagiarism. So now let me give this example. So a lot of people would have seen Night and Day, and one fine day we had Bang Bang. So the idea and even the sequence of events is same, okay, scene by scene. And this is an original work, this is also an original work, but you know that it is a plagiarism, clearly a plagiarized work done. They have created it from scratch, they have invested money, they have created something almost similar, but we know that it is plagiarized. And there are several examples of it. So let's just discuss this. Copyright is a legal right, and if you infringe upon it, you misuse it, you are legally liable. But plagiarism, you take somebody else's work and present it as your own by little modification. It is unethical. So in academic circles, plagiarism is a big research misconduct. So what happens? There are common areas in between. So you copy a published article and you put it in your assignment and say, I have written it. Submitting a photograph which your friend or your roommate took in your work. So all that is plagiarism. So let's take another example because it's a little gray here. So Hamlet, is a book by Shakespeare in 1400 something, hundreds of years ago. He wrote that. Now somebody translates it into Kannada and says, this is my work. So in the end, some people will get to know that this is not the original work. You have just translated it or modified it slightly. But you are not illegal. Why? Because the copyright protection term is lifetime of the author plus 60 years. So Shakespeare is long gone, but you plagiarized his ideas, his general plot elements, which are not copyright protectable, and you modified it for your own use. So it is not illegal, but it is unethical. Plagiarism is unethical. And in academic circles, you cannot allow that to happen. So let me take the example of Devdas by Sharat Chandra. So he died in 1938, and this work has been made into more than 50 Indian language books, translations, and movies. So if you see 1935, they clearly say adapted from in 55 also. Then when you come to 2002 and 2009, no copyright infringement because he's dead and 60 years have passed. But they still acknowledge him. And even in the Dev D movie, it's loosely based on the work. But you know that they acknowledge that, yes, this is based loosely on this. So it is not copyright infringement because the term is over and the work is in public domain and anybody can use it. But if you use it and say that I have written it, people will say you are a fool. We know that this is written by Sharat Chandra and so many works are based on that. So what happens in these things is that the author plus 60 years, people can take you to court. So it's basically plagiarism is creative dishonesty, academic dishonesty, and breach of ethics. It is a moral offense. So please understand that. And we have to teach our students that this is not done. Again, copying from any source without acknowledging it. So acknowledgement and citation is very important. You take someone else's idea without referring to the author as if it was your own, presenting someone else's work as your own. So in an architecture college, I was speaking and they said that one roommate took the thesis of another person, dissertation, and he just copied it. His time was before that other guy presented. So by the time this person came and presented, his work has already been presented by somebody else. They got to know and then they had to penalize the person. So never do that, presenting someone else's work as your own, because it is unethical and improper paraphrasing. If you know how to write it in your own words, it will never be plagiarism. So simple rule, never do these things, word substitutions or modifying it slightly and from one article and just presenting it like that, or copy paste, because it shows lack of original thought and unethical behavior in an academic atmosphere. So don't write verbatim from any books or articles. Copy paste is ugly. Some people buy it, I know that. And most important thing is the children are not aware of the citation methods. If they're aware, these things will not happen. So you're unable to summarize in your words, seek help. Your advisor will help. And if something is common knowledge, you need not cite. But let's understand this further. Simple. If you use any resources, online or offline, provide all the references, links, and most important, quote, paraphrase in your own words, summarize in your own words, you will not be in trouble. So these are the plagiarism checkers softwares, and it is routinely used. And citation is basically information about the resources, and you have to give proper credit. And if you cite your references properly, you will be able to avoid plagiarism. So basically a citation will be a bibliography where you add all the resources that you have used, but not cited also in the, an in-text citation will be when you say so-and-so said so-and-so, and then this person said this, so I conclude that. So you will put it like this in the running text. So if this is the example, this is one of my papers published in 2003, you can put it like this in the in-text citation while you are writing. So let's see this publication from World Intellectual Property Organization. They say copyright, WIPO 2022, Creative Commons. We'll discuss this. And this is the proper citation for this publication. Again, the in-text citation will come in the paragraphs when you're writing, and the reference list will be in the end. So you can have a journal article, you can have a book where you can give the ISBN, you can have a patent. So your university will have a style of citing. You can just follow that. You can give the ISBN number. These are 5 of my books and ISBNs. Even your ebook will have an ASIN number. You can quote it like that. That's the right way of quoting it. So if you have taken 10 words together from an established published work, you have to cite. If it's more than 40 words, you have to put it under inverted commas. And UGC has very strict regulations and zero tolerance policy. So if 10 to 40% similarity is there, they'll withdraw the manuscript and you cannot publish for another 1 year. Similarly, even the advisor will be penalized and 1 annual increment can be cut. And if it's above 60%, 2 annual increments will be cut and the person cannot be a research supervisor. So this is very, very serious offense. So when to cite? If it's your original idea, no need to cite. If it is common knowledge, it's known in your circle of work, no need to cite. But if it is not common knowledge and you have taken from a particular source, cite. Okay, so now I'm giving the example of the 2003 paper I published. Okay, so it says insect-based assay. And when people further publish, this is from my own group, in 2005, it says cited in so many versions. Further publication, cited in so many versions. So it becomes a body of work. So we stand on the shoulders of giants. So before us, somebody did some work. We quoted it in our paper, and our paper will be further quoted on. So it's a kind of immortality if you do some good work. And based on these citations, that is the number of citations per year, you can rank the journals. And that's how the impact factor will be calculated. And you know, there are so many top journals, but if you see Nature's impact factor, 42.35. So it shows the quality of publication or originality of work which is published in the journal. So that's how we come to journal impact factor. And even the NAC goes to the databases and H index will be calculated. The number of citations and number of papers, you get a quality. So the more the citation, that means more people are referring to your original work and it's an important publication. So if you know these things, you will respect other people's intellectual property. You will create your own original intellectual property and get the credit. So this is one of my papers. And if you go and see it online, if you want to download, you have to purchase it for $40. But I don't own the copyright. See, copyright ICIPE. Why? Because when I allowed the publication to happen, I had to sign a deed. All the publishing rights goes to the journal, the Springer Journal will ask you to sign that. So please understand, once you have published, the copyright is lies with the journal unless it is specified. See, here it says open access. So now you're seeing copyright protected and open access. Why is this article free of charge and the other one has $40 fees? So let's discuss. So you know who's this? This is the Android, the Wikipedias. These are all free source. These are free and open source. Whereas the Apple's, McAfee, all these are closed source. They are proprietary software and these are open source. So your Android phone is less expensive than your Apple phone. Why? Because it's closed source. The iOS is closed source, whereas Android has been open to other community and they have developed that software. We discussed the Google versus other case. So whatever is Creative Commons will have a license term. So Wikipedia, we all use it. Okay. So these are new concepts because what happens is that there was a lot of restriction due to intellectual property. So it will restrict further working of the in the field. So the community access to tools will be reduced. So what people did, they said, let's create freedom of using the intellectual work. Let's formulate workable licenses so that other people can work on it and take this further. So that was a good idea, open source. So you can modify the source code, but you have to go through the license terms, and if they allow you to modify further but attribute, modify further but give proper contribution. So you have to understand that. But the closed source will be for companies and they will keep it for themselves. Fair use. But it's good to obtain permission and read the license terms carefully all the time. So in Delhi University, one copyright copyrighted books chapters were being photocopied and put into a course pack and distributed to the students by a photocopy guy. So the original authors went to court and they said, you are violating our copyright. But then he said, only students are using parts of your publication and it is only for educational purposes. Then the authors, they forfeited their right. They said, it's okay, let the students do. And if that photocopy person is taking a little bit of money for the paper and all that, it's okay. So it was considered fair use by the High Court. So these things exist. So we should understand what are the rules and the exceptions. So individual versus public interest has to be taken care of. That's why we have open source and we have closed source. For any study or criticism or review or journalistic work purposes or judicial process, you can be considered, it can be fair use. But if an amateur club is performing to a non-paying audience, it's fine. But if a club is performing for a paying audience, you should give the royalty to the original author. So what is done, what is not done, I hope you can take home the message. We should know how not to break the law. So please be informed and don't step over legal lines. Understand what is public domain. If something is in public domain, you can use it, but attribute, don't plagiarize. You can cite, you can use the Creative Commons material and with the terms and conditions understood. And even if you are using it for something, say personal purpose, they will not mind. But if you're creating an advertisement or something, they will mind. So understand that and create high quality research work. And laws are still evolving. We should be aware. That's very important. So keep track of developments in your area. All do the checks and understand how other people are doing, and you can just follow their examples. Thank you. So now I'll open for questions and I'll stop sharing right now. Okay, any questions?
Yes. Thank you very much, madam, for that very interesting explanation about today's topic. That is copyright pertaining to IPR, plagiarism, and research ethics. Just I want to know, why do people indulge in this kind of thing? Of course, when the UGC has made all these things compulsory, publication and all that, it results in Cobra effect.
Yeah.
This is one thing. And as far as Copyright Act is concerned, one famous film production house from Chennai have stopped, that is AVM production, stopped producing movies also. Now they are into only producing serials. So how these kinds of things result, how can we avoid these things? Of course, you also explained as how these things can be avoided, but still people are doing all these things.
Yeah, so
the reason is very simple.
Yeah, so basically what happens is that especially students, they want to quickly finish their work, and now ChatGPT is in the news and all. So the thing is, we want to, in an academic environment, we want to create works which is a training for the students. They have to go further. Okay, so but people want shortcuts. They don't want to sit down and review the literature and write their own article. But in the end, the whole idea of training and teaching is to create original work, to allow them to learn how to deal with problems and create solutions. So the merit will be based on original things. So one is awareness is not there. And if you are aware, then you will do the things in the right manner. If you take a photograph or a diagram from somewhere, you will acknowledge the source. It's very simple to send an email and take the permission or give attribution, citation. So all those things are the right way of doing a thing. And say somebody is quoting a 300-year-old work, you can just use that. But the thing is, in high tech areas, what happens, whatever is done a few years ago also becomes obsolete. So the patent term is 20 years. But even before 20 years go, within 3 years, you'll see 5G has come or 4G has come. The technology goes at a very high pace. So the idea of creating awareness so that people can play by the rules and know what they can do and not do. That's the idea. So I hope I have communicated some rules and regulations and ways of doing it. I hope it will be helpful. And under no circumstances, people should create something which is a legal issue. Otherwise, people can be taken to court. Okay.
Yeah, I feel when things are made compulsory, mandatory, it results in this cobra effect or perverse incentives. What
Yeah.
you call.
So somebody is asking, we can publish the paper in other journal once it is published. No, it will be called self-plagiarism. So don't do that. Okay. So please understand that it's a very competitive area. And if you create good work, it will be cited further on and people will appreciate that. And some people do some original work in the beginning, and then for the next 10 years, they just modify it and keep presenting. So our community, if we are biologists or we are computer scientists, we'll know that this person is just doing the same thing again and again, or just modifying it a little bit. So you lose reputation. So I was telling about legal and ethical standard. So some things are not illegal but unethical, and you will lose your reputation if you do such things. So please do not self-plagiarize. So that's the answer to this question. Any more questions? You can put it here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much.
So please put this in the chat and I can see the questions.
Yeah, chat box. I think. Can we publish the paper in other journal once it is published in ISBN proceeding book of the college? Someone has asked this.
Yeah,
madam.
so I already told it becomes a prior art, and
Yes.
you will be again publishing the same thing. It's called self-plagiarism. Don't do that.
Yeah.
People will laugh at us. That will be a punishment. Okay, it is unethical. It's a moral offense.
That is also unethical.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions, please?
Yes, dear participants, if you have any more questions, you may leave them in chat box so that these questions can be taken up.
Okay. If there are no more questions,
So
we can close this.
Sir, do we have time?
And I have sent my slide deck. You can, share it with the students if they want.
Okay.
Can
Thank
we
you, madam.
include our own
Thank you.
article in a thesis? Okay. So the thing is, you can cite it and say that further after this, I have done this work. So you can include your own article as a citation in the thesis. Okay. And in some places, they insist that you publish and then put it in your thesis. So what your academic institution has a convention, follow that convention. Okay. So in some theses, they will ask you to include the articles. So
Thank you, madam. It was a wonderful session, really.
Thank you.
We have understood what do you mean by copyrights, what do you mean by plagiarism, what are the ethics we have to follow while publishing research paper and while submitting our thesis to the universities. If you have any questions, kindly can put it in the chat box. Otherwise, we can go for formal functions. Yes, this is the time to ask. I request our principal, Sir Raghavendra, Professor Raghavendra, sir, kindly give valedictory address to our audience. Kindly, that is over to principal, sir.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Dr. NSM First Grade College, Bangalore, we thank all the participants who have participated all this 5 days for national level faculty development program and research journey and IPR in association with internal quality assurance cell. It's feels me proud to present on this day related to the program 5 days national faculty development program from the day one when we started the program with Dr. Sapna, head of the department School of Law, Christ University, and it was a wonderful session which Madam has given to our resource. She was a resource person, and she has given more information related to transformative research, and followed by Dr. Trivedi related to review of literature. So today it is very important for all the research scholars or those who are writing like papers and publishing the papers. Review of literature plays a major role, and we got more information from Dr. Trivedi, Madam, who is head of the department, Ramaya Institute of Management. So followed by the third day, Dr. Manjunath KR, Associate Professor from Kuvempu University. The topic was statistical tools for data analysis. It was an informative session, and I feel each and every individual have understood what importance the statistical tools and data analysis plays a major role in research. And yesterday it was Dr. Usha Devi, okay, Associate Professor of Commerce and Management. So it was also a wonderful session on writing a research paper for Scopus and UGC care list. Today, most of the research scholars and most of us, we have to write a research paper, and especially in Scopus and UGC care list. Okay, Dr. Usha Devi has given clear insight related to how to write the research paper for Scopus and UGC care list. Today it was a fantastic session. Farah Madam, we have enjoyed, and we got more information related to this copyright, plagiarism, and ethical issues in research. So it was really a practical type of session where you attracted all the audience and you made to understand what is plagiarism, what is copyright. It was more attractive. See, you bought the film industry here so that it was very attractive. So everyone appreciated this particular session. I think you can see through the chat box here, and most of them, they are appreciating. It was really a lively session for all of us. And within 1 hour, you made us to understand what is copyright, what is plagiarism, and ethical issues, which plays a major role. So I'm really thankful to the Department of Commerce and Management and IQSC of Dr. NSM FGCA, unit of NITE Education Trust, for wonderfully conducted this 5 days national FDP. And I feel proud that we have given more information from different resource people, and it is very successful. I thank the IQSC coordinator, Professor Bhavya, the coordinator for this program, Professor Vishwanath, and our advisor, Dr. Shanti Madam. On behalf of Dr. NSM FGC, I thank each and everyone for attending this program and utilizing magazine. Thank you very much. Over to Vishwanath, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Definitely, personally, I should say thanks to our college principal, Professor Raghavendra sir. Definitely, I'm very happy, and I should say thanks to you personally, because you have given me an opportunity to conduct national level FDP. Definitely, I'm very happy. So I think we as a team definitely have fulfilled our objective of national level FDP. So thank you so much, sir, from my side. Then definitely on this stage, I should say thanks to Dr. Jalja Madam, Dr. Bhavani Madam from BCU, Dr. Shekhar from Tulpur University, Dr. Shochitup sir from Mysore University. All these great personalities who have helped me to conduct this session. And now this is the time to say word of thanks. So I request Professor Bobaya Madam to give vote of thanks. Over to Bobaya Madam.
Vishwanath sir.
Can you hear me, madam? So,
I think some technical problem is there.
yes, I'll carry on, sir.
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes. Yes, meanwhile, so definitely I must say thanks to all the participants from different colleges, institutions, universities. Definitely your cooperation, you have given wonderfully because of your cooperation. So we have done successfully all the 5 days session. So now I request Professor Bobaya Madam to give vote of thanks. Over to Professor Bobaya Madam.
Thank you, Vishwanath sir. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Dr. NSM First Aid College, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the resource person of today's session, Dr. Farah Deba ma'am, ex-senior scientist, Monsanto Company. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being with us today and also for sharing your valuable knowledge with all of us. Thank you so much. I express my heartfelt thanks to our advisor, Dr. R. Shanti Iyer, and our principal, Professor Raghavendra sir, for being a guiding force for the success of this event. I also express my thanks to all the heads of the various departments and my dear colleagues and the organizing team for your unconditional support. Last but not the least, a big round of applause to all the participants for their active participation and also making this FDP a grand success. Thank you all once again on behalf of NITE management, principal and staff. Thank you all. Have a great evening.